you're in this class, you're taking this class, you're taking this voice lesson to grow. And I know what you put into it is what you're going to receive as well. So if you put in the time and the energy, good things are going to come. Absolutely.
Hey performer, welcome to the Creatively Performing Arts podcast. Are you ready to get back to your creative passion for singing, acting, and dancing again? Hi, I'm Estelle, beginner voice coach, performer, and Christian creative, and I know how it feels to want to use your God-given gifts, but to stay stuck in fear. The solution is to just get started. So in this podcast, you'll find beginner singing and performing tips, inspiring interviews with artists, and help to push past your fear so you can finally start performing again. So pause your Broadway playlist and take a vocal rest, because the show is starting and you're the star of it. Let's begin. Hi, welcome back to Creatively Performing Arts. This is Estelle here. I'm so excited that you're here listening today. I hope you're doing well. How was your Easter? I hope you had a great weekend. I loved the weekend. It was beautiful on Easter morning after a rainy weekend here in North Carolina. Easter morning was really beautiful and sunny, so that was really nice, and it was just good to be reminded and just to remember that our Creator sent His Son to die and be resurrected so that we could have a true relationship with God the Creator, and so that we could be free from sin, free from shame, and to truly walk out our God-given purpose, our God-given, to walk in our God-given identity, and to know God for ourselves. And so, yeah, that was what the weekend was for me. That's what the reminder was for me personally, and I am so grateful that I got that reminder. I hope you had a beautiful weekend, whatever that looked like, and I'm excited to bring you today's episode. You know, we're in the hundreds now on this show. So if you were here last week, you heard the 100th episode, the mashup of different incredible women of color speaking about the arts, you know, and so I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm going to be posting clips and whatnot from those interviews. So just follow me on Instagram at Estelle Avberry so that you don't miss out. Also, I want you to let me know what you think of the show. Let me know, you know, if you have any questions. I had some questions in my Facebook group, the Performing Arts Community, and I'm going to be reading them out and answering them because they're good questions that I think can apply to a lot of you guys who are listening who maybe want to start pursuing the arts, start doing something creative in the performing arts. So yeah, I will play those questions very soon and answer them, and hopefully that's helpful to you. Answer them in the best way that I can. But if you have any questions or you have any topics that you want to bring up, or if you have any suggestions for people that you would love to hear interviewed on the show, like, go for it. You know, the sky is the limit. Dream big and let me know. So just send me a DM at Estelle Avberry on Instagram. I'm there a lot and I always respond. So make sure you send me a message. I would love to connect. You could also leave a review. If you leave a review telling me what you want to hear more of or what you like about the show or any questions you have, I will answer them. I will respond. So I want to hear from you. I want to know that this show is actually helping you. And I want you guys taking action because, you know, it's great to listen and be inspired, but I want you taking action and giving me feedback so I know how to help you better. So, yeah, feel free to message me. Thank you to the girl in the Facebook community who asked those questions because they were great questions, and I'm so excited to get to answer them. Also, make sure you subscribe to this show because we have some exciting new episodes coming up. So I want you to make sure that you don't miss out on any episodes. So subscribe wherever you listen, and then of course leave a review on Apple Podcasts, please. Thank you so much for being here. Truly, I'm excited for today's episode. And I know I keep saying that, but last thing before I introduce our incredible, amazing guest for today, she's truly awesome, but I want to also remind you guys that every month we start the Confident Performer group. It's an online membership, and it's the beginning of this month still, so I wanted to just pop in and remind you that you can still register This group is an amazing way to learn to sing your favorite songs with confidence. You get to perform at least or audition at least once a month because we hold you accountable to doing that. And you get to connect with a network of other aspiring and growing singers and performers so you're not alone on this journey of starting to sing again and perform with confidence. So if you have like a fear of singing in any way, or singing stresses you out, or you feel really shy, but you know that you have a gift to give and you want to grow as a singer, it will really help to be in this membership because you'll basically be paying for multiple voice lessons for the price of maybe one lesson. And then you'll get to be around other people who are giving you feedback in a very comfortable, very, very supportive environment. And I will be there giving you coaching as well. You also get a free voice lesson with me with it. So it's more flexible if maybe you don't have time for like weekly lessons. You get to have like 2 group singing sessions and then 1 voice lesson with me whenever you have the time. And and it's a great opportunity to connect with other artists. So if you are ready to start singing, you are done putting it off and you are ready to start, come on over and join this online community of singers and aspiring artists, and let's do this. Let's build confidence and let's actually perform. Let's actually put ourselves out there and yes, listen to this show, but then also take action together. So that's what the Confident Performers group is, and I would love for you to join, okay? So go to creativelybyestelle.com /confident, creativelybyestelle.com/confident, or DM me if you have any questions, and everything is in the show notes. All right, let's actually get into today's interview. I can't wait for you to hear. It is an interview with Spencer Martinez, who is the founder / co-founder of Limelight. Limelight is an app, a blog, and an online forum where performing arts classes are bought and sold, where teachers who are the performing arts can, share their classes, and also artists or anyone looking for accessible arts classes can find classes on the app as well. And so it's just a very inclusive, accessible way to grow in the arts, to find classes online that are super flexible. And also, if you're a performing arts coach, you can post your classes on the app as well, which is really great. So you're going to love our conversation because Spencer is also a performing artist herself, and she talks about being in the arts as well and about so many things regarding mindset. So you're going to love our conversation. Without further ado, let's get into this chat with Spencer Martinez. Hi. All right. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm here with the incredible Spencer Martinez. Hi, Spencer.
Hi. Oh my God. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here. I'm excited to get into your story and get into what you're doing with Limelight, the app, the online community. I'm just excited to get into all things acting, performing, networking, etc. So let's start with you.
Okay.
Spencer, you're an actor, you're an artiste, you're also an entrepreneur. How did this begin? Like, what was the inception of like, I'm going to be an actor? First of all, like, let's start there. How did I get they
here?
Don't know. Yeah, exactly.
How did I come here? My mom and my dad have always been really super supportive. And when I was around 5 years old, they used to show me Singing in the Rain. And I was like, that's it. I also can't tap dance, but I am there. I was like, okay. I was like, this is what I need. I love this. I love being in front of people. When I was in elementary school, I wasn't good at school. I had to be like taken out of the class sometimes, and I was super like embarrassed about it. And I didn't feel like I was good at anything. My mom and dad like put me in sports. I was okay. I could be a little sporty spice, but it was not for me. And then I guess it was Annie when I was in like 4th grade, and I played Pepper, and I was like, I love being mean, but not being mean in real life. I'm like, I love this. This is great. And I felt really confident. And it was the only time I ever felt confident, I think, in myself, that I was like, oh, hey, I'm good at this. So I think that's really what I stayed true to, and it makes me feel good. And I love the fact that I can do a show and either bring someone joy or I just love making other people feel something.
Yeah,
So,
that's beautiful. And it's
thanks.
so evident because I feel like we
I
were
really
talking
never talked
before
about that
this.
before.
Oh,
Wow.
I love
Okay.
that. Well, I love that story. And what you talked about with like bringing people joy and everything, that's your personality. Like we were talking beforehand, and as soon as we started talking, we were like vibing. It was so
It's
easy
like
to
you're my
talk to
best
you.
friend from far
Yeah.
away.
So
Yep.
easy to talk to you because you
Thanks.
have that spirit of like just wanting to bring joy and bring happiness to people. I think a lot of actors and artists feel that way because we've experienced, like you said, we've experienced so much joy from the arts. You talked about like that was the first time you felt confident, right? And then naturally, you want to just because you're an empathetic person, like so many artists are, you want to give that away to people. You want other people to
Yeah,
experience that feeling of like confidence and like anything can happen and joy.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like that
Or
theater
even having
high.
that or yes, or even having that like tough conversation with
Mm,
someone like, "Hey, I've really felt this feeling and I want to talk about it with you," is so cool. Like
mm.
you can be the person to start this conversation, but you don't have to be in the conversation, which is also kind of
Right. That's so good. That's so true. Like you're playing a character and you might be bringing up topics that for you might be hard to say in real life and
totally.
express, but you can express it through this character. And then you
Yes,
have this opportunity to then start conversations that who knows like where that could take, where that could go. So that's awesome. I love that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Beauty of art. So
The theater.
from from there, you decided, okay, like as a kid, I'm gonna do this. What
Mhm.
came next? Were you like, I'm definitely going to go to school for acting? Because a lot of times, this show is for people who want to kind of start again, maybe grew up doing theater like you, had an
Yeah,
experience in theater, had an experience singing in choir, but like maybe they were like, okay, it's time to be practical. Like I gotta get a job. Or maybe they're
totally.
just, they never even wanted to do it as a career, but they just like, it just kind of like fell off to the side and they kind of forgot about dancing and the arts and
Yeah.
stuff. So sometimes when you're trying to get back to it, it's like practically speaking, like, what do I do next? So for
Oh
you,
my
did you go to
God.
school and
Yeah.
like what happened?
Yes. But that's like also so like during COVID,
Mm,
not doing theater, I had a real, and then doing Limelight, I had a really hard time getting back into it. And guys, it takes so much courage to go back and to do what you're doing. And if you are like, I want to do this for real and I love it and it brings me joy, it's so hard, but you are so brave and it takes, I want you to know I'm so proud of you for wanting to do this. Okay, little pin. Okay, so when you know what, like my mom and my dad are very driven people. And when I say I wanted to do something, they're like, okay, we're going to get you into like a theater camp in New York. And I was like, you know what? I feel like that um I really wanted to do this for real. So they took me to a Broadway camp called BAA. I'm still friends with some people. I was 16 when I did. I'm still friends with some people today. I did a theater camp at Oklahoma City University to see if I liked the college, which was really great because you get to know the staff and the faculty, which is really great. Um, and I went to Fairleigh Dickinson for musical theater and trained there. I felt like it was close enough to the city it's in North Jersey. So it was close enough to the city where I could be there, but also I was able to have a college experience. In this time as well, I'm dating my now husband who went to Penn State. And I was like, I'm going to apply. I got in, but I was like, I don't want to go to the same college as you because I want to have our own journey. And we're still together and it's great after 10 years. But like he went there and I got to see like the Penn State productions which were amazing. But I really love the idea of being close to the city. So if I didn't get into the show my freshman year, which is what everyone says that you won't get in your college show freshman year, you're able to go and do something in New York. And that's like kind of what I did. I I didn't get in the one show. I think it was Merrily We Roll Along. And I was like, oh, no, I love this show. It's Sondheim. Great. And then I didn't get in. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a show in Brooklyn. I'm going to grow my resume while I'm working as a student because you just have to keep growing and meeting people and networking. And I don't think everyone in college takes that opportunity. So if you don't get in something, find your local theater, find your community theater, find your professional theater, and see if you can audition for them.
Yeah, I love that. That's like taking initiative,
Yeah, you got to.
My dad always, like growing up, would always be like, take initiative. If you have a question, you're at the grocery store, you don't know what you're looking for, ask someone, just take initiative and just like ask for help, try. And I think what you said about like your parents, like always being supportive and being driven, I think it cut out a little bit, but you were talking about how your parents are so driven. And I feel like that you can clearly see that, like that's a through line in your life. It's like, you're not afraid to take those steps. And what you said about anyone who's wanting to actually start again, kind of like how you did come like during COVID, and even how, and it applies to how what you're doing when you were starting college and, deciding to branch out and do something outside of school, taking those steps of action. I talk about it so much on this show. Everyone's probably tired of hearing about it, but it's so important. And it does take courage. It takes courage and drive to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of step out of what maybe like feels like in the box and step out of the box and do something that may or may not work out. Who knows? But I'm willing to take that chance. And as actors, anyone who's wanting to start singing, acting, dancing, performing in any way, like those steps of actions, you got to take it.
Yes.
To get to the other side. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, my mom used to say and still says, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that is one, the scariest thing ever, but two, you're usually grateful that you did it.
Yeah.
And who cares if it doesn't work out? If someone says no, fine, I don't need you.
Period. Because it'll ultimately work out, I believe, So speaking of, COVID, and you talked about your experience starting again, when did you start Limelight? Was that during COVID?
During COVID.
Okay.
You know what? It was probably a month before everything shut down. And I was just thinking, I just felt like there wasn't a place for performers, like collectively, as a platform that actually, I mean, I don't want to put in like words in other big companies' mouths, but I just have never felt from other companies, they really care about the performer because it's not really by the performer. It's backstage is run by a big CEO guy who isn't an actor. So how do you know what it's like to do what we do? I mean, you can have everyone around you and tell you, but to experience it yourself and hearing no all the time, it's just different. It's just a different way of thinking, I believe. So I was just kind of like drawing it on like a pad or whatever. And then the world shut down. And I talked to Jake, my partner, who is also the founder of Limelight. And he like does like the business side. I'm more of me. I outreach to other people. I talk to performers, but he's the one that like does the finance because I did not go to finance school. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm good with my money, but he knows what he's doing. So he was like, you know what? I think this is a great idea. And we did and this is so weird, like bringing back my memories. On Facebook, I would message everyone. And I messaged over like 3,000 people like, hey, I'm an actor. Are you interested in a platform like this? How many classes a week do you take? How much do you save for those classes? How many auditions do you have in a week or whatever? And I got this really information overload of what people were saying. And a lot of people like don't know how to find their own teacher, don't know or like want to figure out how to find someone, or they spend a lot of money on class and they're not getting anything back from it. So I was like, why don't we have teachers on the app? They can grow their business, but we give them 2%, we give the actor 2% back every time they take a class. So you are saving money in some way and form. Like we're like the Starbucks on your birthday, you get a free caramel mocha latte. Like so that's kind of what our vision was, because I just felt like there wasn't a space to make for a place for actors to go and to make it as accessible as possible to everyone.
I love that so much. I love the idea of accessibility. I love the idea of highlighting both actors and teaching artists, you know, actors and artists who also teach their art and their craft.
Yeah.
Is really beautiful. So when you started that, you know, you first of all, you took those steps of action and that courageous action and asking so many people all of those questions, which is crazy.
Oh my God. There were some people that were like, leave me alone. And then there were also like really creepy men that I was like, oh God, like, if I do this, will you send me a photo? I'm like, what?
No.
Or there would people be like, I don't think you know what you're doing. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, I don't think you know what you're doing. Like, that's fine. If you don't like what I'm doing, it's okay. It's all right. But I can find the people that do like it, that are in need, or people that said, why are you trying to help actors out there? You should be the one, like, like they're going to take your job.
Right.
And I'm like, why would you not help
Varsity.
why would you not help other people? This was also a man, not that it matters, but this is also a man telling me that. And I was like, you have no idea what it's like to be a non-union woman going to an open call. So there's 500 girls going, and I still want to help these people out because they deserve to be helped. Like, yeah. You can see I'm very passionate about this.
I can see. And I want people to hear this because I think that listeners, this community, myself included, can benefit and also like contribute to Limelight. So tell us about the light of the Limelight. Break that down for anyone who's like, okay, what is Limelight? I like the Spencer girl. She's an actor. She loves helping people. What does Limelight actually look like, you know, if I'm just opening the app or getting into the community?
Totally.
Yeah. Give us some of that background.
Okay. So we came up with the idea Limelight because limes were the actors and lights were the teachers that brought joy to the performer so they could help them book down the line. So when you open the app, it's on iOS only. Sorry, everyone. It's really hard to get a developer, and I had to learn that side, and it's nuts. Like tech industry, insane, crazy. You're usually the only woman in the room. I thought theater was just mostly men. No. It's nuts. Okay, so you open up Limelight and you see different classes that you can take from different lights. There's a filter option to see like in the separate areas. So it's like virtual, Atlanta, LA, Chicago, New York. And if you're a teacher in North Carolina, you can still sign up and take a class. You can still teach your classes. It just would have to be virtual. So that was kind of the idea. And then you can favorite the other lights if you're like, oh, I really like them. I'm just going to save them to the side. And when I want to take my next class, they're going to be my people. On the app, it's still so new, but there's a review option on there. So people know it's a safe place. It's a safe person to work with. Because evidently, I don't know if people know, when you're in New York and you take a class or you take a voice lesson, usually you're in that person's house. For people that aren't in theater, that is the weirdest thing possible. You're going into a stranger's house and you've never met them. And you're like, oh, okay. It is kind of odd. So I wanted to put that safety net on there and also like give information back to the teacher. Like, this teacher is amazing. This teacher helped my life in so many different ways. And I think it's also great for them to get that feeling of accomplishment as well, like words of affirmation. Um, so yeah, so that's what we have on our app and on our forum on our website. There's different regional theaters out there, like like the Muni. Let's talk about the Muni. And is this a safe place to work? It gives performers an option to read about the theater, about the space, and about people that have worked there, saying it's a great space. I love the director that I worked with. It's the housing is clean. You don't have to work separate side jobs, because other regional theaters you have to, which I didn't really, I knew, but I didn't know the extent of it until starting this. There was a website before that's called Gig and Tell, and Backstage bought it, and then they shut it down. And I was like, this is very important, because every other employee in New York uses Glassdoor, and we don't have actors who are vulnerable, who are like dancing on top of each other, who are just doing their craft. It's very, like, you have to be in a safe place. Like, so I don't know why I mean, I do know why they shut it down, but it wasn't smart for them to keep it, because they wanted to be loyal to those theaters, which I understand. I get, as a business side, I do. But I just feel like that information is so important, and it's anonymous. So your name does not get put out there unless you wanted to. Because you don't want that information to get back. And that's what I think people were so afraid of. Like, I want to share this information, but I do not want this pulled back on me. Or what if I never get hired again? Because I'm sharing, like, hey, like, this one person posted about this one place, and it was like someone, they didn't care about the actor's safety. And they were like standing on a bed, and they didn't have the brakes, and they're like, it's fine, it's fine. And then you're like, okay, like, that's kind of odd. And then there were other things that happened at this theater, which, like, one person apparently can't walk or something. And you're like, okay, so there needs to be a safety, and people need to be held accountable as well. And I do think some non-union theaters, which I think are great, and they're helping other communities and helping actors, and maybe young people get to see theater instead of going to a regional show or a regional tour or a national tour, and you can't afford that. And and I think it's great, but I do think they need to be safer for the performer.
Yeah. And I love that you're making that space to make it evident, like to show people, like, these are the places that are safe. And yeah.
Oh, I don't want to be a downer the whole time. I was literally,
no, you're good.
I'm like, oh God, like, this is like I didn't want the space to be negative, because I'm clearly not a negative human. But I was like, okay, someone wrote about, like, the Palace Theater, and they're like, I love the Palace. And I went to audition for them because of reading the forum, because I was like, you know what? They seem really great, and I would love to work with them. And, like, let's, like, heighten this theater that actually takes care of their performers.
Yeah.
Great.
It actually helps
it
helps the theaters.
Totally.
It helps actors get to the right theaters that will be, like, safe places for them and everything.
And
also to hold people accountable, which is good. I love that. That's great. Exactly. I love what you're doing at Limelight, not only with the forum, but also with the app, and just, like, allowing artists to have that access and teachers to give that to anyone who's looking to start performing. And so you work with a lot of actors, clearly, and artists, because you communicate with them in Limelight. Yeah. And also because you create content on TikTok and on Instagram pretty much every day, I think.
Every day. Well, you know what? I've been really taking off the weekends, because I've just decided it's getting too crazy. I'm getting too crazy about it. So I do have, like, also a no phone Sunday. I don't allow myself to look at my phone at all on Sunday. I put it under my pillow and I walk away, because I feel like my eyes I feel like my eyes are getting a little funky. I'm starting to get headaches, but I just like need that for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, even if I'm not saying I'm not on the computer sometimes, but I still will do some work on Sundays, but the phone and the social media, it's done.
Yeah. Well, I love that because you give so much of yourself during the week and to give great content to actors and artists. And so you need that time away. And
Yeah.
it's a great example for your other actors and artists who, because sometimes your art and your craft or your business, whatever it is you're doing, can seep into like every other area of your life instead of separating it. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Totally.
when it
Totally.
comes to what you hear from actors, whether it's on, the comments or in your forum or in the app, or the artists that you work with, I feel like I know the actors deal with so many of the same problems, like reoccurring
Oh my God.
mindset when it comes to mindset, consistency, rejection, things like that. What are some of the like maybe like top one or two things that you feel like you hear over and over again for people who are starting to take class or wanting to take
Yeah.
class? And what are their greatest fears? Is it rejection? Is it like not being consistent enough and like I'll take a class and then I just forget about it? Like what are the things that
Right.
are
Right.
stopping them from going for it and taking those classes? Or what are the things that they're really struggling with? And do you have any thoughts about that and like solutions and whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. It's where do I find the class? And I'm like, I got an answer for you.
Limelight.
It's called Limelight. Um, but I swear that's really one of the questions. And I think some people just know me for just my content and they don't really know the app or the forum. And they're like, she's great. And I'm like, no, but really download the app. It'll help you. Um, that's one. I do think like the pricing. Some classes out there or like some headshot photographers that are asking like over a grand. You're like, how is that accessible for everyone? And and I know because you got to put money on yourself because what you're doing, like as a photographer, you are a value, right? And you don't have to go to someone like that. You can go to someone that's less. But um, it's like, how do I work being an actor and then also taking class? Like, how do I schedule that? And that's a big question that people have. I say find like a reoccurring acting class that's like the whole month or a month and a half, and it's like 2 days a week. So you can kind of schedule your time out of the day. Like, hey, I can't take that shift because I know that I'm taking class on Tuesday, Thursday. And it kind of like levels you in and organizes yourself to, okay, I'm sitting down and I'm taking these classes. I already paid the money. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Instead of doing a once a week kind of thing. If you were taking a class like once a week and you're like, it's like kind of like a pay to play kind of thing where it's like, I'm going to take this dance class. Fine. For me and how I think other actors work, it's like you need to be dialed in for like the month. So
Mm.
buy those dance classes for the month or that acting class that goes like Tuesday, Thursdays, because then you know what's going to happen. You know what you're doing that month and you're able to save kind of beforehand and you know how much it's going to be. For me, I don't think drop-ins work as well. I need like a specific schedule. Another question. Well, another thing that I've been hearing a lot this season is that no one feels like they're booking and
Mm.
it's hard and the auditioning is hard and because we're not used to it. Like we're not used to auditioning in person and it's a new thing and it's kind of like the first day of school where like I've done this before but I really don't know these people or I'm not comfortable because I haven't been in an in-person audition for a little bit. So I think being able to give yourself before you go into that audition room, you need to know and you need to understand that you are putting on a show, that you are able to, even if you don't book, you are able to perform. And that's what's really exciting You get to be in the room with people that I know are rooting for you. And I know people are like, casting doesn't like me. Da, da, da. You're like, no, they want to book you. They want to book the job. They don't want to be doing auditions anymore. They want to find that person for their show. So you're in front of people that want to see you succeed. So knowing that you get this opportunity to have a cute outfit on, sing a song, do a monologue or whatever, and you just perform. I think that's what we all need to focus on, because before you're like, I just need to be seen. I just need this. I just need this. And you're like, okay, you're going to be able to perform professionally, but you have to be in the room, and you also have to give yourself like the breath and the focus of like when you are in that room.
I love that. I love that. Look at it as a chance to perform.
Yeah.
That's so good. And helpful when it comes to like fearing rejection
Oh my
and
God.
judgment, that discouragement that oftentimes always comes along with being an artist. It's just a part of the deal.
All the time, every day, all day.
Yeah, exactly. It's a part of the deal. How do you encourage someone who is afraid to, you're saying that like the biggest questions that you get are like, where do I take the classes? Pricing, of course, and also like consistency and like setting a schedule, which is so important. Do you feel like the mindset behind, because all of those things are really valid questions. I think that there might sometimes be like an underlying fear, underlying like doubt of like, it's not even going to work. Like, what's the point of taking class if I'm never going to be a great singer anyway? So, those thoughts that come, how do you respond to that? Like, what do you feel artists need to hear when it comes to that mindset?
Totally. So I said I was like a little sporty spice in high school and middle school, but like I totally believe being an actor is is like an athlete. You have to work out no matter what. You have to be going to the gym. And our gym is taking acting classes, voice lessons, dance classes, all of the above. Like we do more than every athlete out there, because they're just working on their body. We're working on everything, the whole thing. So one, it's really hard, and you need like, but I believe every person that wants to be an actor should do it, and they have something that no one else has. They have a story to tell that no one else has. And if you can focus on that, like, hey, I have a story to tell and my story is different than everyone else, which is true. That's important to know, you know? And I often wonder, like, if performers they wait too much to take the class, because you want to be prepared before going into the audition room. You want to be in that class like at least a month before going into the audition room, where you feel like, this is my best. So I definitely encourage taking class all the time. I'm not in class right now, but I just need you to know it's because I'm looking for a different job, but I'm going back into class. But you know what? I do feel when I'm not in class, I do feel a set of, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. But it's also important to go to different classes, so you know what you're missing, and there's a different teacher for everyone. But I don't want to get too comfortable. This is bizarre. I think it's because I played field hockey, and my coach like would just yell at us, and I loved that. I was like, yes, yell at me, tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I will fix it. And I am not the person to be like, she doesn't like me. No. You yell at me, you tell me what I'm doing wrong, as safe as possible, obviously. But yeah.
I think that, what you're saying is really seasons. Like, there are seasons to this. It's not like all the time that you're going to be taking classes. Sometimes you're going to have a show. You might not have the time. There are always opportunities to be training yourself. And even when you are in a season of like not taking classes for whatever reason, doesn't matter. You can still continue to work on yourself. You can still grow yourself. I always, like I was saying, I encourage singers to like have your own like practice routine. Like,
Yes.
10, 20 minutes of like, I know what I'm doing when I want to practice vocally. I know what my the warm-ups are that I love. I know what song that I'm working on right now for me personally. And you might not even be in a voice, like with a voice teacher, but you have like songs that you're like, I want to work on this song this week. And it's like,
Yeah.
you can do that for yourself. So I
Exactly.
love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
read a new show, read a play,
Mhm.
listen to listen to like an album that's on Broadway that you've never heard of. And you're like, oh, you know what? I should really learn about this show, or look up casting directors, look up agencies. Like
Yeah.
there's all things you can do.
So many things you can do to just start and to grow yourself as an artist. And that's what this is all about. That's what the show is here for. That's what Limelight is here for, to help you grow as an artist. And like, you have so many resources that are free, and also resources that do take an investment, which I think is also cool too, because then you get to support artists. And also, like, there's a fishing hole for everyone. You know, that person who wants that $1,000 headshot, like, if that's really that important to them and they really
You do you.
love working with them, amazing. But you know, that's not everyone. And I love that you have that, again, resources for everyone. There is a place for everyone. And
Yes.
Limelight, I think, will be a place for so many people listening to this. So thank you for coming on
Thank
and
you.
sharing about it,
Of
and
course.
encouraging artists, encouraging performers to know that they have a story to tell that is so worth hearing. But you won't get to tell that story if you don't start. Like, you have
Right.
to start, you have to get into class, you have to learn. And like, I'm like you, I also kind of like took the first couple of months of the year off. I was just like, it was crazy with work and everything, my day job. And so now I'm getting back into dance class again.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. And I'm acting again. I'm in a show now, in a Shakespeare play. Yes.
Oh my God.
Not a musical, it's straight play.
I've never done Shakespeare, and I think I'd literally
Fun.
pee myself because I'd be so afraid.
It's fun. It's very
You like
fun.
it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
do.
good. Okay.
This is my second time working with this company, and I love them. It's like a non-union company here in Greensboro and with
Oh, amazing. You should put them
fun.
on. You should put them on Limelight on our
I
forum.
should. Oh my
You should talk about them.
gosh. I will.
Oh,
I will
yeah?
actually talk about. I've had the artistic director on this show, and she's great. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yes. Then more people can know about this theater company.
exactly.
Love.
I love
Great.
it. Yeah, but thank you so much for being here. I always ask my artists, or my guests who are also artists. The last thing that I always ask before getting, where everyone can contact you is, for the person who's listening, who is like, okay, like, talking about starting to sing, taking classes, I'm looking into Limelight. I love Spencer, but they might be still struggling with one thing or another, or I don't know, maybe they're doubting themselves or feeling discouraged, or they don't really know if they're going to be good enough, whatever it is, to that person, that actor, that aspiring actor, dancer, singer, performer, if you could just give them one word of just advice of like, take this and run with it, just encourage them today, what would that be?
I gotta steal from someone, my mom. Feel the fear and do it anyway. It's so scary to be vulnerable and just to feel like naked, really naked. And you're like, I don't want to be told that I'm bad, but I'm going to tell you, you are not. You're in this class, you're taking this voice lesson to grow. And I know what you put into it is what you're going to receive as well. So if you put in the time and the energy, good things are going to come. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for you too.
I love that. We are both rooting for you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, there's so much that's possible on the other side, even with you like restarting again, starting to act again in COVID. I don't know how long you were off for before you started again.
Literally,
I'm sure there was fear.
2 years. It was
really?
Oh my God. Literally it was 2 years because COVID was a 2-year thing.
Right.
And I was like, I was back home in South Jersey and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, because I was really focused on Limelight. I was really focused on helping this community. And then I was like, I'm unhappy because I feel like I'm not doing something that I love Limelight and it gives me joy, but there's something about acting that I love and that I just can't explain. And I feel like I'm really good at it. So I it was very scary. There were, crying all the time. Like, I'm not good at this. And then you book something like, okay, I am.
Were your first steps when you were feeling that fear and wanting to do it anyway, was your first step to go to class or was your first step to audition or both?
Well, there's like two things. Actually, you know what? I got called in for this show, and it was a big like Broadway show, and I'm like, crap, like I'm not prepared. They haven't seen me in a long time. And whoa. So I called my friend Lauren, who is a audition coach, and I'm like, I need you. And I felt really good about the audition because I had someone like helping me, not even giving me affirmation, like, oh, you're great. It wasn't even that. It's the fact of, hey, how can we make this really deeper and be honest as possible? And you do this character, whatever. So I kind of got pushed into doing it, which, you know what, is fine. And that's the universe saying, you got to do this. But then it was like to audition, and then it was to go back to class. Because I felt like, because then I also feel like this weird thing of, I know so many classes out there, and I don't want to just be like, I'm like, oh, if I go, what is this going to be like for me? So I had to kind of like rethink of being really scared of just being vulnerable. And that's all the time. I mean, you struggle with it all the time. And I'm sure people that are, my voice teacher who, her name is Victoria Clark. She's on Kimberly Akimbo. She was my voice teacher. And she's like, I saw her after the show and she's like, was it okay? I'm just like not happy with my voice. They go, Vicky, you literally tell me this all the time, like to love your voice. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's, it never ends. It never ends. And that's what just shows you that people in the industry that are working, that are on Broadway, and they feel that too. So it's normal.
That's beautiful. I mean, and that's why your advice is so, so helpful and important, to feel the fear, like it's valid and everyone feels it, but they do it anyway. And that's why they're able to do their craft and they're able to grow and they're able to thrive. It's because you're doing it anyway. And so I love that.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing that, like being vulnerable, about sharing how vulnerable that was for you.
Oh.
We hadn't like gotten into it before, so I'm glad we touched on it, because I think a lot of people can relate to like, oh my gosh, you know,
the anxiety. Yeah, absolutely. So
thank you so much. This has been so great. I've loved talking with you, getting to know you.
Me too.
You're great. I'd love to stay connected with you. And I know so many people listening definitely would as well. So please let everyone know. Yeah, let us know, how can we connect with you and Limelight?
Oh yeah, you can go follow us on TikTok, Limelight app, and on Instagram it's Limelight app _. You can just follow me also on Spencer Martinez for my Instagram. I don't have my own TikTok account because I can only do one. There's only so much. But like, please, if you hear this, like definitely reach out. And if you have any questions, like I'm an open book, obviously. And I would love to hear your experience, or if you want to learn how to use the app, I'm here.
Thank you so much. You are a limelight, if you will.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing about this. It's been so much fun. You're such a joy. And like you said, you're not a negative person. It's obvious you have a very positive demeanor and like a sunny outlook.
Girl, I love you.
That. I love you too. Thank you so much. It's been beautiful. I really appreciate you being here and taking your time. I appreciate everyone listening for taking the time as well. Like, this is just, you blessed me. So thank you.
Of course. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Creatively Performing Arts podcast. I hope you feel encouraged, inspired, and truly impacted by today's episode. And if you can think of one person who would love this show, please share this episode with a friend. And if you wouldn't mind going to Apple Podcasts and leaving a review and rating, it will take 30 seconds and it would truly immensely help the show grow and reach more people who need to use their creative gifts as well. And finally, go to the Performing Arts community on Facebook and join
join this online free community for you to interact with and connect with other artists. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and I'll talk to you later.